floodwaters. Local states of emergency are now in place in a number of communities. One of those, the RM of Rosser. That's where CBC's Alana Cole is and where our storm coverage begins.
It's gone down a little bit, but we opened the garage door and it just flooded in.
This is Brienne Lucier's family home, her car partially underwater. She woke up this morning to her mom telling her they'd be getting pulled out by boat.
Never thought I would have to do that, especially in my own house.
The storm in Grosse Isle started yesterday afternoon. The rain kept coming, so did the water inside. Their basement flooded.
When I was going upstairs to get another flashlight, there was a bunch of water everywhere under the stairs.
Crews in the area have been working to try to get power back on. The RM of Rosser declared a state of emergency.
As you can see, a number of homes have yards full of water. As you saw, some people had to leave. Now, officials say most people are staying with friends and family, but an evacuation center has been set up at the Grosse Isle Rec Center.
That's where we met Vic Gagini. Water in his basement damaged memorabilia and music he's been collecting for decades.
I've worked at it for a better part of my life, and it's like I never did anything.
Not far from here, others are dealing with the same situation in Stonewall.
The basement window.
This is the water being pumped out of Ryan Margette's basement. Wedding photos could be lost.
It just sucks, right? Like you can't say that any other way. Like, we're not going to be able to salvage everything that was in our basement, that's for sure. And it's going to be, and a lot of the stuff that was important to us is not going to be around.
He's thankful nobody got hurt, and they're getting a lot of help. At Stetson Chartrand's house, his room is in the basement where water started flowing in last night.
Kind of stressful, getting to sleep in my own bed.
They're still cleaning up. His mom says flooding and tornado warnings came around the same time.
Hey, it's flooding downstairs. We have a blow-up mattress and a bed down there. Do we stay downstairs because there's a tornado warning?
People are lending a hand where they can, like Mike Walker and his neighbor, helping pump water out of basements.
Well, this is Stonewall. This is what we do that. Yeah, it's a small community and try to help our friends, so.
Now, within the city of Winnipeg, heavy rains lasted throughout the night. Floodwaters quickly took over, leaving people abandoning their cars in the middle of the streets. Others working to stop the never-ending flow of water into their basements. CBC's Rosanna Hempel picks up our coverage here in the city.
Up to tennis ball-sized hail and more than 10 centimeters of rain in some parts of the city. Tuesday's storm damaged cars and knocked out power for thousands of Winnipeggers. It flooded streets and underpasses. These first-time homeowners in North Kildonan are cleaning up after their backwater valve failed.
The hail started, and it started getting more intense and more intense and more intense, and then I decided that I should probably come check out the basement. I got to the top of the stairs and my jaw hit the floor.
Sewage was bubbling up through a drain in the floor, 20 centimeters high. It destroyed appliances, gear, and keepsakes from Andrew and Rebecca Van Segelin's wedding. The new floor will also have to be replaced. They didn't get a lot of sleep.
I could not go to sleep because I was worried about the basement flooding again because I knew there was another storm rolling through.
The city of Winnipeg says it got 851 911 calls in 12 hours, including for stranded vehicles. Several were spotted down the street on McLeod Avenue. Tow truck driver Grant Cabez hauled 7 in the area away on Wednesday.
It's been busy, steady, nonstop, and it will be probably till we catch up. It could take a week and a half.
Manitoba Public Insurance says more than 8,000 claims have been reported to them in Winnipeg so far. Rajveer Dalon found his car like this after work on Tuesday, dented by hailstones.
We just came out, so there are around a lot of cars, around 100 cars in the parking, so every car got damaged like that.
The city's 311 service has also been inundated with more than 1,000 requests, including for clogged catch basins and downed trees. The city says crews are working around the clock to restore services. Rosanna Hempel, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Meantime, crews are out working to restore downed power lines throughout the province. As of 5 p.m., 20,000 customers are without power, including roughly 15,000 within Winnipeg. The storm caused extensive damage to power lines, poles, and electrical equipment. Hydro says many outages will not be restored today. Meantime, it's been days since heavy rains turned normally gentle rivers into raging waterways in Minitonas. The water came fast and the ferocious flood swamped the town. Roadways have been ravaged. CBC's Josh Crabb is in the community today where the cleanup could take months.
There's a lot of people that use this road daily to access everything.
Minitonas farmer Neil Kachuk has never seen anything like it. He usually uses this road to get to some of his thousands of acres of farmland, but floodwaters washed away a huge chunk of it, leaving a gaping hole.
It's been quite a roller coaster, quite dramatic when you start seeing all the destruction. It is really overwhelming.
The road crumbled more as Kachuk showed us the damage. Several roads and bridges have been washed away in the municipality of Minitonas, Bozeman. 72 millimeters of rain Sunday night drenched the area, a 5-hour drive northwest of Winnipeg, causing flash flooding.
And we've pumped a bunch of water out, but there's still water and it's just all silted in.
Connie and Lori Lausman's basement flooded when about 2 feet of fast-moving water surrounded their home. Their yard now covered in mud. The couple is going to move into a camper while they clean up the damage the flash flooding along this river left behind.
It was going over the bank at least 3 feet high at the time, and it was just sailing just like if it was a big river.
The river took the easiest course it had, and the course was through our yard, and so this became its new river. It reached the bank.
The floodwaters tore through this bridge on Highway 366 just south of the town of Minitonas. The swollen waterway roared through here Sunday night, flooding basements, knocking down hydro lines, and leaving a mess of mud and broken tree debris in its wake. In the town, residents still pump water from streets, garages, and basements. Reeve Larry Mahalchuk says they're trying to help people who were hit hardest.
And we're doing wellness checks, and we're going from house to house. And if they're needing any water getting pumped out of their basements or things like that, that's what we're looking after house by house right now.
Deputy Reeve Gary Bartel says the cleanup is just starting.
It's going to be months and months of work because basements have to be restored, cleaned up, sanitized, rebuilt. So yeah, it's a humongous effort here, and it's going to take a long, long time.
And more rain has fallen, complicating cleanup efforts. Kachuk is lucky that his home is on higher ground, but some of his farmland is too wet, meaning lost crops, as it's too soggy now to reseed. And some fields have been cut off for heavy equipment.
Right now, I don't even know how supplies are going to the grocery stores. It's from both sides of the valley. Semis aren't able to get in. And yeah, just for everyday life, people are cut off.
You can't get directly to Swan River. It means it's more difficult for first responders to get people to hospital in medical emergencies. Josh Crabb, CBC News, Minitonas.
Riley's in now, and it's really incredible footage that we've been seeing, but that rain feels like it hasn't stopped in 48 hours in some areas.
Yeah, and we're looking at more precipitation, Brittany, as we get through the next few days across not just southern and central Manitoba, but into northern Manitoba. And I mean, it's one thing to look at some of these numbers. Stonewall over 250 millimeters of rain, Petersfield, Clandeboye close to 230 millimeters. This is nearly 4 months of rain in just a matter of hours, in some cases just north of the city. Argyle, 125 millimeters, Woodlands 120. Just east and west of the city, about 90 millimeters in both Dugald and Ely. Steinbach at 31. Quite the spread rainfall-wise in the city as well. So the airport recording 50 millimeters of rain over the past 24 hours, but the Forks 122 millimeters, and lots of numbers in between as well throughout the city. The all-time daily precipitation extreme is just about 84 millimeters at the airport. That was set back several decades ago. Didn't quite make that at the airport, but we did certainly see some very heavy rainfall, and a lot of that continuing, Brittany, into northwestern Ontario and into parts of southern Manitoba. I'll break it all down when I come back in a bit.
All right, thank you, Riley.
You're welcome.
Our storm coverage continues. We'll hear from the Premier, who is in parts of flood-ravaged Manitoba. That's after the break. Stay with us. We head back to the Swan Valley now, where torrential rain Sunday turned into devastating flooding. It trapped more than 24 people inside their homes. Businesses say their properties and buildings are destroyed. CBC's Chelsea Kemp spoke with people there who are overwhelmed.
As the water goes down here in Swan River, the cleanup begins. This street was underwater yesterday, but some homes and businesses are still flooded, like Grazer Custom Manufacturing, in the family for 45 years. Owner Dan Grazer says he's never seen anything like it.
We're still an island, and that's come a long way since it was. We're working on it, yep. We just got in here this morning and we're coming up with a plan and ripping our building apart.
Shannon Fullerton had to move her 16 horses to higher land, and in their home, moved what they could upstairs. She visited her home today, catching a ride in the bucket of a front-end loader.
We're kind of like sitting ducks, no pun intended, but we're just sitting and waiting, and we've been checking in. They've been using canoes and kayaks and Zodiacs, and we actually, to go back in.
Volunteer Darren Chemilowski has been on the ground since the water started flowing. He says they've been chasing water trying to keep homes safe, but it flowed very fast.
Mother Nature to stop. You know what? We got the people, we got the resources right now. You know, we need a break, yeah, but we need a break in the weather.
Back at Dan Grazier's shop, they're still trying to clean up. But every time a vehicle drives by, the wake pushes in more water. He says he's proud the community came together and wants the province to learn from the disaster.
I guess this should just be documented that this happened and take it as a lesson for what we could change in the future here. It's beyond anything I understand.
People here just hope the rain stops soon. Then they can start rebuilding their properties and their lives. Chelsea Kemp, CBC News, Swan River.
The Premier spent the afternoon touring the Parkland region and surveying damage in the flood zone. From the washed out roads and cut highways to flooded farmlands, Wab Canoe and his team stopped into a school where volunteers were putting together sandwiches and food for people working around the clock to clean up. Lengthy detours are in place to get around washed out roads and highways. It will likely be months before the area is back to normal.
Ton of infrastructure that needs to get looked after here, but the main thing is that people are safe, so that's the positive side, and we're just going to have to put in a lot of work to help people through the rebuild, repair, and the cleanup.
The Premier says a lot of insurance doesn't cover overland flooding. He says the province will activate its financial disaster assistance program along with its emergency social services program to help people immediately. These few repeated days of wild weather have some concerned about what it means for the hot summer season ahead. With multiple tornadoes in recent weeks and widespread, far-reaching flooding, there are worries about what's to come. CBC's Jura McElraith explains.
Yeah, you can see it right there. It's starting to rotate right there. Wow.
This is where Jim Osler saw a tornado, standing in his St. Anne front yard waiting for his wife to come home from work. He's never seen anything like it before.
The clouds were circling and they were dipping down in towards the ground, and you could see them circling and swirling, and they were very dark and almost, it was like a funnel cloud, and almost like you can see it almost looked like a mushroom cloud, to tell you the truth.
Osler says the storm worried him and his neighbors.
When I got home, you could hear the thunder and it sounded like a train rolling through town. So I heard that again last night about 3 o'clock in the morning. We didn't sleep very well around here last night.
Damage was minimal, but in Landmark, lawns and ditches are flooded. And over in Ile-des-Chênes, hydro crews worked Wednesday afternoon to prop up power lines. Freshly seeded fields, now lakes. Farmers across Manitoba have already dealt with delayed seeding, a brutal windstorm, and drenching rains. Along with the rising cost of fuel and fertilizer, Keystone Agricultural Producers says it's unprecedented.
This is a hand that farmers have been dealt, and everyone's trying to play it the best they can, but it's, like I said, there's no real words to express the situation. It's kind of an unheard of deck we've been dealt here.
And with summer barely started, farmers and people like Jim Osler hope storms like this one don't become a pattern. Jura McElraith, CBC News, St. Anne.
Video game giant Ubisoft is closing its Winnipeg operations and laying off all employees. 65 employees from its Winnipeg shop have been laid off. The France-based company is best known for its Assassin's Creed series. Its studio opened here in 2019. It was lured here by the province with a digital media tax credit. In 2022, Ubisoft announced plans to scale up its Winnipeg operations and triple in size by 2030. The company now says it's taking targeted actions to reduce costs and strengthen its business long term. It also closed its Halifax production studio in January and laid off 71 employees there. Time to take a breather.
Yeah.
It has been a very busy 48 hours for so many people in this province. A lot of wild weather, a lot of cleanup. And still potentially more to come.
Yeah, we're still dealing with the effects of this system, Brittany, that brought all of the rain over the past 24, 48 hours in the province, and we'll be dealing with this for the coming days as well. So let's take a look at satellite and radar imagery right now. And I've laid on the watches and warnings. So we're under a severe thunderstorm watch in Winnipeg. I expect we'll see this drop as we get into the evening hours, but into northwestern Ontario, some severe thunderstorm warnings have been in and out, now back in effect for Fort Francis Sioux Lookout because of some of this thunderstorm activity that's been pushing along the provincial border and a bit more pop-up activity into the Red River Valley and parts of the southern Interlake. You can kind of see on this the counterclockwise rotation around some of this precipitation as it's been falling. This is all because of a very active upper level pattern that we are seeing right now. So you can see this trough to the west of us, the jet stream dipping far south and then back up right through Manitoba, with a ridge that is built to the east of us here. So we're kind of like this battleground in between these two air masses here, which is what has really driven some of those very violent conditions that we've seen across the province as the storm track cuts right through the province south to north here. So that is going to stick with us here as we get through the next several days. You can sort of see the center of this low as it sits over central parts of the province, and we'll see some of this precipitation wrapping back around as we get through the overnight hours. So more like periods of rain or some scattered showers to start the day in southern Manitoba, but attention turns to northern Manitoba, where a rainfall warning is in place for the Churchill region. This is because of the potential of up to 50 millimeters of rain by the time we get to Friday, and then another 15 to 25 millimeters over the weekend, and a good soaking rain, a general 20 to 40 through much of northern Manitoba as we get through the balance of the work week here. You can start to see things starting to ease as we get later Thursday, but then we'll see a bit more precipitation wrapping back into central and southern parts of the province as we get overnight into Saturday before we start to get into a bit of a drier air mass, and that will slowly start to dry things out and bring temperatures back closer to seasonal. So here's what we're looking at in terms of rainfall over the next 48 hours or so. The potential there for up to 60, 70 millimeters of rain in northeastern parts of the province. I think some of these numbers around Thompson, Norway House are a bit on the high side. This is a general 20 to 40 millimeters for much of northern Manitoba as we get through the next few days here. Temperatures in the afternoon, certainly not as warm as it has been. 17 in Winnipeg, 17s and 18s into the western part of the province, and single digits in northern Manitoba, and things slowly, Brittany, start to rebound as we get into early next week.
Thank you, Riley.
You're welcome.
Well, it was a wet and wild night out there last night. Hopefully a calmer night for many people tonight. We have much more to come straight ahead. Stay with us. The province spent months looking to develop a hyperscale AI data center and was looking for help to do it. New documents revealed by CBC show the Manitoba government was in talks last fall with U.S. energy advisors about the potential center near Winnipeg and building an $18 billion hydro dam, potentially with a private partner. CBC's Bartlett Kivas reports on a policy evolution by Wab Kinu's NDP government.
During his first 2 years as Premier, Wab Kinu wasn't enthusiastic about new Manitoba hydro dams.
I love the folks at Hydro, and I'm sure if you ask them, what do you think of Katy Perry landing from space? What do you think of the Jets winning the President's Trophy? What do you think of the Premier's press conference today? I'm sure their answer is going to be to build a new dam.
Kinu has also claimed the Manitoba PCs are bent on privatizing hydro. Documents obtained by CBC News show senior officials in Kinu's NDP government were in talks last fall with U.S. energy advisors about building an $18 billion hydro generating station in northern Manitoba, potentially with a private partner. The dam is Kanawapa, a project cancelled by Greg Selinger's NDP in 2014 when the cost rose to $10 billion. Kinu now says that dam's back on the table, and he wanted to explore all financing options.
Anytime you get to the scale of billions, tens of billions, I think it's important for us in the best interest of Manitoba and our economy to look at the best of the best and to look at everything that's on the table in terms of financing, in terms of projects, in terms of potential partners.
Manitoba's current PC leader was taken aback.
What is his plan? Is he looking to privatize hydro like he says he is against from day one? What is he actually doing? What was that deal? How did it fall apart? And where does that leave Manitoba Hydro?
A professor in urban and environmental change says a private partner on a hydro mega project would present a risk.
We already had determined that Kanawapa was not economic, and the Keesiak project didn't go very well either in terms of the economics, so there's large risk there.
Documents also show Manitoba sought advice last fall from the same U.S. advisors on developing a massive AI data center near Winnipeg. It would have needed up to 300 megawatts of electricity, enough to power 150,000 homes. Meeting notes state the Premier wants accelerated timelines for the project. Now, Kinu says he's no longer interested in developing a large data center.
I think we owe it to Manitobans to hold ideas up to the light and say, okay, what would it look like if we put out a call for proposals on AI data centers? And in the end, we said, no, that doesn't make sense.
This professor who studies data centers says she's not surprised by a change of heart on the AI market.
I do think it likely that we're going to see, euphemistically, a market readjustment. Or more colloquially, the bubble's going to pop and the market's going to bleed.
The Premier says he remains interested in smaller data centers. Bartlett Kivas, CBC News, Winnipeg.
The Bank of Canada is holding its benchmark rate steady for a fifth month in a row. Bank Governor Tiff Macklem says the Canadian economy is weaker than expected because of U.S. trade policy and the war in the Middle East. At the same time, an increase in global oil prices is spurring inflation.
Raising rates to dampen inflation could further slow the economy. Easing rates to support growth increases the risk that higher inflation becomes persistent. For now, holding the policy rate unchanged balances those risks.
The rate will remain at 2.25%. The bank expects inflation to hold around 3% in the coming months before easing back toward the central bank's 2% target. The federal government has taken a first step in laying down the law for social media companies. It's just tabled a new bill called the Safe Social Media Act. Parents have been pressuring the Liberals to help make the internet a safer place for children. Here's Maureen von Stackelberg with a first look at what the bill proposes.
This new law would require social media platforms to restrict accounts for children under the age of 16. But those companies could be exempt from the ban if they can prove they've brought in enough safeguards. Social media giants and AI chatbots would have to prevent children from viewing harmful content like pornography. AI chatbots would also need to have a way to intervene if a user plans to harm themselves or others. Social media platforms would be required to label all fake content and remove sexual content of children, survivors of assault, or anything sexual posted without the person's consent, all within 24 hours. If the platform doesn't act fast enough, users would be able to file a complaint with a new federal regulator that could issue orders and fines.
We're failing our children. Enough is enough. Our parents cannot face these challenges alone, and the safety of children can't be an afterthought. We need basic protection in place so every child in this country can be safe on platforms they use every day.
The federal government has been under pressure from parents, advocates, and politicians to do more to deal with the harms of social media. Those include these platforms' addictive design, impacts on mental health, and harmful content.
There's a huge responsibility on these companies that they continue to shirk. They continue to say that they don't have accountability for the people who are using their platforms to go after our kids and exploit our kids.
Canada's new legislation comes as several countries try to limit children's access to social media. Australia became the first last year to ban accounts for anyone under the age of 16. The Liberals have tried unsuccessfully to bring in this type of legislation before. Marina von Stackelberg, CBC News, Ottawa.
The trade agreement between the U.S., Canada, and Mexico expires next month. And U.S. President Donald Trump says he's not looking to renew it. He says the U.S. has trade deficits with Canada and Mexico where there should be surpluses. He says his country needs to be treated better. Trump says the best thing about the current deal that he made during his first term as president is that he has the right to terminate it.
Who would have thought that it comes due in my term? I mean, this was, thank you very much. So it was very important that we be able to do that. So we're talking to them. We'll see if we do something.
The Prime Minister has changed his tune about when the Gordie Howe Bridge will open. Earlier, he said the new bridge between Canada and the U.S. would open later this week. But Trump says he wants to secure the best possible deal related to the bridge. So when asked again, here's what Mark Carney said.
Everyone's working hard to make sure the bridge is open as soon as possible. There's no big drama. If it takes a little longer, it'll take a little longer, but this will benefit Canadians, Americans, business, tourists, residents for decades and decades to come.
The $6.4 billion bridge connecting Windsor and Detroit was paid for entirely by Canadian taxpayers. Earlier this year, Trump threatened to block its opening if the U.S. doesn't get a better cut of the tolls Canada will collect. Currently, the plan is to split the revenue with the state of Michigan after building costs are fully recovered. The U.S. and Iran are back to exchanging fiery rhetoric and airstrikes. Washington renewed missile attacks on Tuesday in retaliation for the downing of an American helicopter. Now, Trump says U.S. forces will attack Iran again very hard if a peace deal isn't secured. Tehran has countered with a threat of its own. The CBC's Willie Lowry, more on the day's events.
The U.S. and Iran trading strikes yet again, threatening to unravel the already fragile ceasefire that has been in place since April 8th. And I posed that very question to the U.S. ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, whether or not this ceasefire remained in place. Is the ceasefire still intact?
I'd like to think that it generally is, but the United States, as the president has made very clear, is not going to let Iran attack our assets, attack our military, and do nothing about it. So, as he typically does, he's keeping his word.
And speaking of that word, the president put out a statement on Truth Social in which he said that the Iranians have taken too long to negotiate a deal that would have been great for them. Now they will have to pay the price. What is the price?
We'll find out. I don't know more. He's a patient person, but it has its limits.
And just as Ambassador Huckabee referenced, President Donald Trump himself admitting that his patience had essentially run out when it comes to the Iranians. He said that he will continue to strike Iran today. He also expressed frustration that the Iranians had yet to sign this peace deal that he says is essentially fully negotiated.
They should sign their deal. It's a good deal. It doesn't give them the right to have a nuclear weapon. In fact, it totally prohibits them from ever having a nuclear weapon. And it was just tap, tap, tap. I don't know what they're doing.
Trump has repeatedly said he believes the deal would be finalized within the next 2 to 3 days. And yet, despite all of his efforts, the Iranians have yet to bend to his will. They have yet to agree to a deal. And this war that the president started all the way back on February 28th continues. Willie Lowry, CBC News, Jerusalem.
The streets of Belfast are scorched and littered with debris after a night of violent anti-immigrant protests in that city and others across Northern Ireland. Belfast was the scene of the worst unrest. Vehicles and buildings went up in flames after mobs of masked men threw firebombs at homes they believed belonged to immigrants. Terrified families, some with young children, were forced to flee their burning homes. Some needed to be rescued by police or firefighters. The violence was triggered by a vicious stabbing in Belfast that was caught on video and went viral. The suspect is a Sudanese asylum seeker who's been charged with attempted murder. When storms and rain hit, why are some parts of Winnipeg better equipped to handle it? We'll dive into that ahead. Last night's storm left City of Winnipeg crews scrambling to keep up with calls about downed trees and flooded streets. As CBC's Cameron McLean has more now on how the city is responding and why some older neighborhoods may face greater risk of floods.
Underpasses filled with water, malfunctioning traffic lights, and downed trees. Just some of the problems crews were tackling Wednesday after a massive storm rolled through the city. As of 9 a.m. Wednesday, the city's 311 call center received 137 requests related to downed trees and debris, more than 200 calls about backed up sewers, and 90 plugged catch basins. Mayor Scott Gillingham asked for patience while the cleanup continues.
Because of the sheer volume of the calls, the wait times are a little bit longer. I would expect those wait times to drop throughout the day as our 311 operators are able to get to those calls faster.
Some neighborhoods, particularly in older parts of the city, saw severe flooding due to the presence of combined sewers. Combined sewer systems carry household wastewater and street runoff to the treatment plant in the same pipe. But when heavy rainfall or snowmelt exceeds the sewer's capacity, it dumps the excess diluted sewage into the river to avoid backing up into the system. Despite being designed to relieve pressure on the system, homes in areas with combined sewers face greater flooding risk because stormwater overloads the pipes. The city is in the midst of a decades-long project separating combined sewers.
There are 2 or 3 major projects and those are underway or about to begin. Once those are completed, we'll have really captured 85% of the combined sewer overflow area.
That project is expected to cost well over $1 billion and won't be finished until 2045. Cameron McLean, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Well, as we deal with all this wild weather, I just want to take a chance to remind people that be leery and cautious of what you see online. We've seen a lot of AI images or real images, but from other incidents years ago that are popping up. Just be careful. We have a team that works very hard to verify those, so you can trust what you see here. But lots of that happening online right now.
Yeah, absolutely, especially when it comes to the hail that we've seen, some of the other weather events that we've seen throughout the year here. I want to take you back to last night once again, because, I mean, talking about the rain is one thing, but having a look at that as it pushed through southern Manitoba, and you can just see how prolonged we were in this heavy rain through parts of the Red River Valley and parts of the southern Interlake, and this did bring more than rain. There were reports of up to grapefruit-sized hail in parts of southern Manitoba, around Otterburn, of course. Several tornadoes remain under investigation on whether or not we did see some touchdowns. That one at St. Anne has been confirmed, and some very strong winds, particularly to the west as this frontal boundary pushed through. In parts of West Mandela, rain in particular saw wind gusts of up to 130 kilometers an hour last night. South of the border into North Dakota, this is where we saw some wind gusts of up to 150 kilometers an hour. And you can just see this frontal boundary as it pushed through, not impacting just Manitoba, but right through North Dakota, South Dakota, and parts of Nebraska, seeing some of the same severe weather that parts of our province have seen throughout the past 24 hours or so. Taking us back to now, we do have some severe thunderstorm warnings in place just south of the city, down through the Red River Valley. Not expecting anything as volatile as last night was into parts of the southern Interlake once again as well, but downpours to the tune of 30 to 50 millimeters, quarter-size hail, and some strong wind gusts can be expected as this makes its way through. This should start to die down once we start to lose some of the sunlight and some of the daylight that as we get into the evening hours here. The airport reporting some rain right now, 25 degrees. Pressure is falling. Winds have been fairly variable throughout the day today, around 13 kilometers an hour, and looking at temperatures across the south, a bit cooler in behind this, so 17 in Dauphin right now, 15 in Swan River, 13 in Thompson, and still at 20 degrees in Gillam. As we push through the night tonight, looking at fairly general scattered showers through the overnight hours, most likely to the pre-dawn hours as we get into the Red River Valley. Temperatures around 11, 12 in the Parkland, 13s, 14s to the Interlake and the Red River Valley, and some thunderstorms continuing into northwestern Ontario, and temperatures hovering around 10 degrees through much of northern Manitoba, 10 in Thompson, 9 in Gillam. This is where we'll see that rain beginning to push through as we get through into the day tomorrow. By the time we get to Friday, to the tune of 20 to 40 millimeters pretty generally across northern and northeastern Manitoba, but some heavier pockets along the Hudson Bay coast, where we could be talking 50 to 75 millimeters. And in southern Manitoba, scattered showers through the morning. We'll start to see that tapering off as we get through the afternoon. But Brittany, things staying pretty generally unsettled as we get through the next couple of days.
All right, thanks, Riley.
Welcome.
Excitement continues to grow for the World Cup, which is now only a day away. But as CBC's Gavin Axelrod shows us, some fans haven't been able to get their hands on their country's gear here in Winnipeg.
They call it Fimbu, Fimbu, Fimbu.
That's how Godi Katembo will celebrate when the Democratic Republic of Congo scores a goal at the World Cup. It's the first time his home country will play in the tournament in his life. The only problem? He can't find any of the team's World Cup uniforms in Winnipeg.
This is a very historic moment for them. 50 plus years for not qualifying. Now they're qualifying. Where's the jerseys?
He's thought about buying one online no matter what the cost, as long as it arrives on time. Katembo knows not everyone will do the same.
I know we don't encourage knockoff jerseys, but people still have those decisions to make.
Saad Tassoufra has also been struggling to find his country's kits in Winnipeg. He says as a top 10 ranked FIFA nation, Morocco's gear should be easier to find.
It's quite frustrating, especially you just want to have everything you could. So for me, I'm not satisfied with only one jersey. I would like both.
At Royal Sports on Pembina, the store's general manager says they have jerseys of all the teams wearing Nike, Adidas, or Puma. Morocco is one of those countries. The Democratic Republic of Congo is not.
It's World Cup time, right? So we want to make sure we get everything in that we can for every club.
At this year's World Cup, over 75% of teams are wearing uniforms made by Nike, Adidas, or Puma. All the other teams are wearing uniforms made by different companies.
There were a lot of teams that didn't quite qualify until the very, March.
Cecilia Castro is the director of the La Liga soccer store. She says the later a team qualifies, the harder it can be to get their uniforms in stock.
Sometimes even those other brands might not have the units that they have available for everyone. So it's hard to predict sometimes.
Katembo says he understands those hurdles, but also says retailers should look beyond the popular FIFA nations. And at the end of the day, all he needs to cheer on his team is a little bit of passion. Gavin Axelrod, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Air Canada Window Park has reopened in downtown Winnipeg. The redevelopment process included input from Indigenous elders and knowledge keepers and cost just over $3.5 million. The new design at 355 Portage Avenue has a multi-purpose stage, new lighting and new trellis, and even a drinking fountain.
Today is so much more than celebrating the reopening of a park. It's about creating a welcoming and safe community space that reflects the voices of the people who use it. It's about honoring Indigenous culture and storytelling and helps make our downtown a more vibrant, inclusive, and connected neighborhood.
The grading of the entire park was raised to sidewalk level, providing clear sightlines and accessibility. Young chefs from across Canada faced off in the National Kitchen Brigade's final in Montreal on the weekend. 5 teams of high school students competed for the chance to take part in the International Culinary Competition final in Paris, and a group from Winnipeg was among them. The CBC's Paula Diane Perez dishes on the sizzling showdown.
Some heated competition here. Out of more than 200 teams, only 5 made it to the finals. Young chefs between 12 and 17 years old are competing for the national title. The winning team will represent Canada against France. This is the National Kitchen Brigade's finals in Montreal. Teams had to cook dishes with 3 ingredients revealed at the start of the competition: ocean perch, asparagus, and cherry tomatoes. They also had to prepare a smoothie with milk.
It was a bit stressful because we were in front of everyone. It's the last step before Paris, so we really want to go. But also it felt good because we were working together as a team. Even if I kept screaming at her to bring me stuff, it wasn't mean or anything. It was really some friendship thing.
The competition is one part of the Kitchen Brigade's program, where kids take free cooking and nutrition lessons after school throughout the year.
All of a sudden you're conscious of how much it costs. How can I make the best out of this piece of meat or fish? How can I introduce new proteins that are cheaper but healthier?
But on the day of the competition, it's all about taking home the trophy.
C'était bien, c'était comme vraiment stressant.
mais on a eu du plaisir et on a tout donné ce qu'on pouvait.
It didn't feel much like the big competition. We were like in our element. We were just cooking and just thinking about cooking.
Only one team gets to go to Paris.
It's something special because it's the Gordon Bell High School. Bravo!
Students from Winnipeg won for a second year in a row.
I feel really good, relieved, you know, just all this effort, all this work just paid off.
Paris is a whole different story, just such an amazing opportunity.
The final round in Paris takes place at the end of June. Paula Diane Perez, CBC News, Montreal.
Way to go, Gordon Bell. Still ahead, Riley is back with a last check on our forecast and hopefully a drier one. Stay with us.
All right, shifting gears slightly because I know I've talked a lot about the rain, the hail, the storms that we're still seeing in the province, but there is the home opener for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers regular season against Hamilton tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. A chance of scattered showers as that game kicks off in the evening. That chance decreases as we get later into the evening. Temperatures Slightly on the cool side for this time of the year, looking at 16 by halftime, so maybe prepare for a bit of a chillier one. Here's your 7-day forecast now, and things remaining on the cool side as we wrap up the work week, looking at 19 degrees for Friday, with some peaks of sunshine, another chance of showers overnight into Saturday. Then we'll get some clearing, 18 for Saturday, and back into the low 20s and much, much drier as we get into early next week. Baratchen is the German word, Brittany, for bread roll.
And that's the name Berlin Zoo has chosen for the baby pygmy hippo born in May. Here's your daily lift. Okay, and he's adorable. The month-old calf already weighs 20 kilos. That's more than 3 times how much it did at birth. These rare pygmy hippos are native to West Africa.
Now, bread roll likes to wander about in the enclosure a lot, and zookeepers have to coax the little one to get used to being in the water a little bit more.
Treats always help.
Especially with me.
Right? Same, right? We've been talking a lot today over the past couple days about the storm. Just want to make sure that everybody is staying safe.
Yeah.
We will get through this. It'll be a long cleanup.
Yes.
Tonight, we leave you with some more storm coverage from around the province and how people are cleaning up. We'll see you tomorrow.
All of a sudden there's some water coming in my crawl space. My sump pump was working like crazy. There was so much rain coming down and so fast nothing could keep up.